In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Lucky Leo's pub. Today, still wanted by the government. They survive as drunkards of fortune. If you have a drinking problem, if no one else is entertaining you, and if you can find them, maybe you can listen to the Loud and Drunk podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Loud and Drunk podcast. This is Dan, and yeah, we've gone full A-team on you.
Don't
Don't get us copyright.
They can't copyright us because that is technically parody. Moses, I'm actually very happy. I'm proud of you that you did a whole A-team reference without me getting in your ear and telling you to do that.
Well, I needed a glass of milk to do it, but here I am. And as long as we're not in a helicopter, I'll be all right.
Justin, the holidays are approaching. Money is something that's going to be a problem.
Yes.
For everybody. You want to give us a sneak peek about mo money, mo problems?
Yeah. So you know what the funny thing is? You finally get yourself established, you get a little bit of money in the bank, and then, God forbid, you try to take it out of the bank to do anything with it. What a nightmare.
I call those Fridays.
B.A. Baracus, very happy to be here. Delightful intro. Loved that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm just excited to hear what we're going to talk about tonight.
I'm actually really happy that we were able to book B.A. Baracus. Whoever's booking the guests, he's stepped up his game.
Oh, no, I pity the fool who was doing it before.
Oh.
It's no relation, though, just to be clear on that. Yeah, it's people often...
Oh, you're not from the Baracus of
No, I did notice the coincidence. I actually wasn't going to say anything, but no, it's no relation at all.
So the B.A. doesn't stand for bad attitude?
No, it's Barry Anthony.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Who books our guests?
That's a dig.
We're going to have a little conversation.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit embarrassed right now, but I'm still happy to be here.
It's not your fault. We have to talk to whoever booked
I
the
love
guest.
the show, if that's worth anything.
Well, that makes one of you.
All right. Thank you. I'm just happy to be here.
I mean, I'm actually technically incorrect. There is someone else who loves this show. Our sponsor.
Oh.
The Underground, located in historic Smithville Village on the way to Atlantic City, is Jersey's coolest proprietor of rock and roll and punk rock apparel, horror merch, posters, accessories, and more. You can find them online at theoriginalunderground.com. The Underground. It's a bad store for bad people. I'd also like to take this time to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you are on YouTube and Rumble, smash that like button, leave us a comment, share this video with your friends, and get in on the conversation by joining us on social media at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and that Chinese spying operation known as TikTok.
Fuck them bitches.
All right, guys, we're coming out of Thanksgiving holiday. Mm-hmm. It's a great time to be alive, you know.
I don't feel great because I am stuffed like a turkey.
You look like one of them.
Oh, I am honky.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
What?
Yeah, sure.
What was that?
No, the honky. You don't talk jive?
I only speak.
I don't know what it means. I just don't know.
I speak 70s jive. Nothing that you would know nowadays.
It was a different time.
Goddamn kids.
As we prepare for that lovely time that is Christmas, but now seems to eat up from the 4th of July to, like a January 1st almost.
That's when
Corporations have to make money.
That's when I put up my tree was July 5th. Oh. I was prepared for this.
That's probably when they started putting them up in Home Depot and Lowe's. But before we get into our lamenting of the holiday season in full, Justin, you wanted an opening tirade.
Yes. So, basically what we're going to be talking about, hitting here a little bit, is like money. The things you do well with it, the things you do not so well with it. And myself, I'm closing into like my twilight years, I suspect.
Oh, my God. That is adorable.
Yeah, that got,
like, Jesus Christ.
That got dark fast.
Yeah. Oh, I just see it as reality. But
that's usually my job.
I've always been somebody's been pretty good with money, understanding, investments and stuff like that. And I had something not necessarily benign come up, but I was in a car accident basically a month and a half ago. Nothing major, but I had to buy a new car. I had to get money out of the bank. And what I learned, that's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Even if it is so-called your own money.
Yeah.
And it's a bank, like you would think they would actually have money there, but they don't.
They don't.
They
It's
don't.
not their job to have your money, sir.
It's not their
Like,
job.
why am I going there to rob it if they don't have money? Like, I could get the
You
lollipops
kind of
for
answered
free.
your own question.
The
It's stupid to rob a
lollipops are
bank
free,
these
so
days.
the rest of it, I'm like, what am I getting out of this?
Yeah, it's better to rob a pharmacy. Also, you should know this.
I only go
He
there
is
for
right.
I only go there for the insulin.
Now, what I will say is, like, I've gotten in my own way. I have, like, diversified my money over a whole bunch of different things. I have money in the bank. I have money in a credit union. I have money in different investment funds and stuff like that. So, between a bank and a credit union, fairly similar. I keep most of my money in a credit union because I am a federal employee and I have access to that. I get a slightly higher return on my capital. Well, not a massive amount of money. We're talking like 15 grand here. That's all I needed.
Yeah, like a coke habit.
So I called them up and I'm like, listen, I got all this money with you guys. I would like X amount of this money, my money, to come to me. And they're like, that's great. We don't give out cash.
No.
And I'm like, oh.
And honestly, you should be ashamed for asking.
Like,
Yeah.
why would you go to a bank for cash? I go to my fucking dealer.
Well, no, this is in
Yo,
full
spot me some
defense,
bills.
This is a federal credit union, not a bank.
You don't give out.
I think my dealer is Federal Credit.
FDIC insurance on that
I don't
shit?
know. I never asked him, but I think he might be.
You don't give cash. You don't give credit. You don't give loans. What is it that you do?
Yeah. So
What do you do?
all they
Lollipop-
do
lollipops.
is they'll give you a bank check, which you have to take to another bank.
Yeah.
Jeez.
A real bank.
Yeah. So I go up there. I get my cashier's or bank check or whatever you want to call it, certified check. I then run over to the bank I belong to, which I haven't actually been inside a bank in a long time to actually do like a teller transaction.
You're better off. It's very depressing.
Well, when I walked in, all I saw were these like self-checkout register type things. So like I went, you walk in, you go to the table, you get like your deposit.
Deposit slip, like,
slip, yeah. So like do that, I fill it out, I got my check, my certified check, and then I look up and I don't see a human being. I just see these two like Cylon looking machines staring back at me.
Oh, I love that reference.
And I'm like just standing there like a lost puppy. And I'm like, I knew this was going to be difficult, but I didn't know I'd have to deal with these machines. So I slowly approach, sussing out the situation. And then, fortunately, this lady walks out of a dark corner somewhere. She's like, do you need help? Yes. You're a human, right? Yes, I do. That
Tell me
would
she
be
was a
great.
robot. Tell me she was a robot.
all bank tellers are from at least the third or fourth ring of hell, and they just shadow themselves in a very incorporeal way.
I've seen movies about this.
What I would say was she was very nice. So she takes my certified check from my money over here to put it in my money over here at this place.
Are you pointing at your hand?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then, so like, she's depositing. And of course, there's issues because there's always fucking issues.
Of course.
And then I'm like, I haven't had to do this in a while. So, like, say I wanted to take, like, all that out in cash. Could I do that? She's like, oh, no, you'd have to make an appointment, like a week out.
Yeah, 3 to 5 weeks. That's
so
business
fucking-
days.
And I'm like, a week out? You're a bank.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
but they don't
small
keep the money
fry.
there. They don't keep the money there. That's the thing. They've
Yeah.
got like
It's
10
bizarre.
grand at a bank at a given time.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's bizarre. Like, and I get why, because of old-timey movies that I've seen where they're all bank robbing and shit. But come on, you're a bank.
Yeah, they don't
10
keep
grand
the
isn't a whole lot of money, especially
when
nowadays.
you've got what, thousands of people
Thousands
who
of
bank at that
customers,
one
like
bank?
any
Yeah.
one of them could be like, oh, I want $1,000.
Because
At
most
least,
people,
you know.
because most people don't deal in cash anymore. Because the
true.
government has made an effort, as if corporations, just everybody in general, it's just easier to use a credit card. So nobody's trying to do that,
It's-
and therefore, if you need a shit ton of cash, you're the outlier.
Oh,
That-
100%.
yeah, that's because it's just easier to, it was a bank error or it's a computer error. Not that we just don't
it's
have the
just
money
like
for
They don't
you.
want to pay people. The bottom line is, if you're dealing in cash, then you have to have somebody to actually double check that cash because they run it through a counting machine and so on and so forth. But they actually have to have somebody there to
Yeah.
But there's
That
always
is
like
true.
7 to 8 people at the very least at a bank.
Not at the
And
banks that I go
The
to.
banks that I go to, there's so many fucking people that are working, and then
Really?
there's
At the banks
oh my
that
god,
I go to, it's 2 people.
I gotta talk to like 3 or 4 people just to like, I just want to deposit this. It's $40.
Are you sure that you're not just like at a strip club and then they direct you to a bank?
Of course, I'm not completely sure, but like, What a ridiculous question.
So, like, all right. So, like, the rundown of my situation was I was buying a new vehicle. Not a new vehicle, but a new vehicle to me. And I needed the cash money to buy it because this guy's old school. And I appreciate that. He's like, I even asked him when I went to look at the vehicle, I'm like, would you take a cashier's check? Because that's all the fucking bank would give me. And he's like, no, cash. And I'm like, respect, but now I have so much to do over the next couple days.
If you were over, would he have just dug up his gold stash in the back and given you like the balloons for change?
Oh, wow. Wow. He might have. I don't know.
Nobody's ever cashed into balloons, huh?
It was in Browns Mills, so you never know.
It's a big pirate area.
Yeah. Uh-oh. But, like, so, like, literally, I was like, all right, yeah, respect. But now I know I now have to make, like, a pilgrimage from bank to bank to bank to suss out what each bank will give me in cash and then go to the next bank or try to, like, subvert it by, like, going to a front-end ATM, which you can get a little bit more cash out of. Than,
But only
like,
a little bit.
Only a little bit more.
Hundreds at most.
And in full honesty, that's never worked for me. It always denies me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I fuck all that shit.
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
It's the AI, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had to...
I thought $5,000 was the most you could get out of an ATM.
No, it's
No,
nowhere
it
near
depends-
that.
Is it smaller than that?
Yeah. Depends on your
Smarter
bank.
than that? What the fuck does that mean?
Smaller. I think he meant to say
Oh,
smaller.
small.
Smaller. It is not what.
I will
I
tell
don't know
you,
what the fuck he's saying.
I'm in very good financial standing. I bank with Chase, and that's only because I had Bank of New York, which became Chase. Well, was purchased by Chase. At a regular ATM, I could take out $1,000. At their front end vestibule ATM, I could take out $3,000, and it's never worked for me.
That's so weird that like you can only you could take out a smaller amount face to face with like a debatable human.
Yeah.
And like the machine will just give you, I don't give a shit.
It's the company itself, the bank itself.
Right.
Basically defending itself against possible fraud and whatnot. That said, the ATMs that I go to, and I've only gone to like the ones at like gas stations and shit.
Yeah.
But there's still like that's why like $1,000 is shocking to me because it's normally $200.
Well, no, that's my limit. Not saying the ATM would give me that.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the ATM limit. Like, not that you didn't have the
That's
money
what
in
my
the account,
bank-
but like,
Yeah, the banks put on a certain limit.
yeah.
I can't remember what
because
USA does.
in Japan, I was allowed to take out it was only like maybe $1,000 or two. But I thought that was a considerable amount of money, being that I'm not where
You got
I
way
live.
into the red with that one? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's not what got me into the red. That was that was that DMT addiction.
It's an affordable drug. Too.
We need to angle you to get
Not
on
in
the
the way
Rogan
I do it.
podcast.
Yes, we do.
Oh my God, he would eat this up.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
yeah. But it's crazy. It's and God forbid I tried to say take money out out of my investment accounts.
Yeah.
Say.
Well, you get taxed. on
1,000
that and
more.
whatever, yeah.
Well, I mean, depending on what type of investment
It's
account it is, yes.
yeah,
Whether you're pre-tax, post-tax, whatever. But
The
yeah.
difficulty in getting out, though, I will say that, like, I feel like when you're like a regular, like, middle class American, middle class or up, let's say,
Yeah.
and you've got your money in a bank, it does raise questions about like, because it's all like FDIC insured and whatnot. But like, if you actually needed to go and get it, it should cause you a little bit of nervousness.
Oh,
like,
and if
can
you pull-
actually go
That you
and get
can
it?
actually get it when
Because they
you
might
want
just
it.
say no, and then you really can't do
Banks
anything.
are not J.G. Wentworth.
Oh man,
I need my money and I need it now.
And if you
Not a
find a
sponsor.
bank that will let you take out more than $10K, now you're filling out government paperwork.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah.
$5,000 is the limit.
Yeah, it's
isn't
like
it?
no, it's
You got to
10
fill out taxes.
It's 10.
$10,000
Oh, is it 10? I
is
thought it
where
was
the
5.
government. No, the U.S. government has like specific thresholds, and their big one is $10,000.
Yeah.
If you're moving $10,000 in any way, putting it into a bank account, taking it out, so on and so forth, then they want proper paperwork
Yeah.
for it, and that's like they call it like anti-money laundering.
Yeah.
Also, I'll just chime in right here. Not for nothing. If you're a billionaire who's trying to like funnel funds,
$5,000 is a $10
is
bill, if
nothing
that,
to you.
yeah.
So like it's completely irrelevant.
That's why we make bets. Make a $10,000 bet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's some change, right?
Yeah, that's like a
Who was
penny
that?
bet to a
Who's
million.
that guy who's running for president?
Mitt Romney.
Romney, right?
Yeah.
He made
Yeah.
it $10,000
Yes.
like casual.
Yeah, like that's not casual by any means to the
but
American
it is
public.
to him, and that's because he's a real American.
He's just one of those rich ones.
He can't be a real American. He's never fought for the right for anyone.
But he is a Mormon, and that makes him more of an American than you.
That's fair.
I don't think that's accurate.
No.
That's absolutely
Mormonism
accurate.
is an American staple.
Yeah, it goes Mormons, veterans, regular Americans.
Do you
And it's
think
like that,
veterans
Dan.
are that high?
Sorry to throw it in your face, but
Like,
I will tell you,
sadly,
the
I don't think
Mormons
veterans
have-
are that high.
The Mormons have infected much more than just us.
no.
They have really made their way around lately.
Well, let me know when they get to Rome and see how that works out. Because I can't wear a dress there unless it covers up my heels.
I don't know what that means.
You ever go to Rome?
No.
Oh,
I've been to Rome.
yeah, you can't. You have to be.
Oh, what, to go into the Vatican?
Just to go into, like, in Rome, they'll give you shit if you if you're not covered enough. This is typically women, but
So it applied to you for some reason?
well, because I like wearing. It's a fucking breezy country.
I was in Rome. Like, Rome proper, I didn't encounter that. Definitely within the defined lines of the Vatican, absolutely.
Well, you wouldn't have encountered it because you were a man, but
Unlike you? What are you saying?
I'm just. Well, I'm a man wearing a dress, and I like the breeze going.
Were
between
you
my-
wearing a dress at the Vatican?
Yes.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lounge Podcast.
I said in 1972 we got
Jesus
arrested.
Christ.
Oh, you finally dated yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe you guys don't remember what it's like to be my age.
No,
No. And hopefully we never will.
I hope not either, because Christ, I wish you were dead now.
But yeah, it's funny because it's like as far as money goes, like whatever you want to consider the middle class now, which is hilarious. It's
That's a discussion.
it's hard. It's fucking hard. We're in a system that just erodes the middle class.
Yeah.
You have your haves and your have-nots, essentially, is what it ultimately is distilling down to. And
Yeah,
in some ways, there's arguments put at the expense of the middle class, but it's just so impossible. It's impossible to get anything fucking done.
Not to get too fucking existential about
Right.
it, but yeah, I mean, the natural system of things is one where the middle class is one that doesn't really exist.
No.
It kind of reverts back to this like feudalism type of thing where you've got poor people and you've got rich people.
Yeah.
The poor people
Yeah.
are employed by working for the rich people, and the rich people need the poor people to work for them.
Yeah.
And that's like the system, and that's the cohabitation. So the middle class is like this misnomer. It's like a thing that like it's an aberration.
It's like a
it
mythical
almost-
creature that shows up every
Yeah.
now and then.
When you are like debatable middle class, you're running a race that just can't be won. I know Daniel will
Yeah.
appreciate that, but
You're like, if you're the middle class in the United States, then you're always trying to certainly not go down. You know, like
Right.
nobody's trying to be less than what they are, but you're trying to definitely level up in some way, shape, or form because that gives you that security against what's inevitably going to happen, which is some sort of a down spot in the economy where you can easily, by no fault of your own, slip into this other state. You know, where now all of a sudden you're a poor.
a lot of that is like just people trying to debatably keep up with the Joneses,
Well, it's
where
like
they're
it is like
spending
the
money that
curse
they
of
don't
the middle
have
class.
to, and it's just to put up appearances on your cul-de-sac. And like, who gives a shit?
Oh,
what
people will put themselves into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt just trying to do that alone.
Yeah, and that's really
I agree.
more in line with what we're going to talk about as well in
Yeah.
terms of stupid purchases. Because
Yeah.
just because you see your neighbor has something doesn't mean you need it or they need it or you should have it at
or
all.
you should even be competing with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's
I mean, that's a kind of like going further into it, but like that's what it is at its base. Stop competing with each other and just fucking live your goddamn life.
It's human nature.
Enjoy it.
It's human nature.
I want to double down on what Justin just said.
Yeah.
That's the nature of it. It's that capitalism in and of itself is competition. So people, and I do agree with what you said, but in terms of practicality, it's that people are
humanity
competing with
breeds
each other.
iniquity.
Well, also what I'm going to say to jump in there, it's not inherently capitalism because it's in the 10 Commandments not to covet what your neighbor
Oh,
has.
right.
Praise God.
Yeah, but not all of us are Catholics.
I am.
It's still because all of those rules came from somewhere down the
I
line.
know,
past
like,
religion. So it's
Catholicism got the one right, like, all right, don't kill people. All right.
Catholicism did not invent that, Moses. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm
No
not going
pun
to listen to
intended.
this from somebody who's never been to Rome.
Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ.
Everybody take a breath.
All right, then I'll continue talking on this.
But no, it is human nature. You want to be a winner. And if you can't be a winner, you want to look like a winner.
Yeah.
I view things like this in terms of that there's the element that people omit in our society that isn't talked about. And instead we talk about race and like the different groups of people that are like disenfranchised and what have you.
Sure.
I don't think that it is about that. Those are things that we talk about because they're much easier to talk about. Difficult as they may be, they're still easier to talk about than the socioeconomic thing. The gist of it being that it's about the socioeconomic situation that people find themselves in. We find commonality in our socioeconomic situation. You could be middle class or poor from any rank of society in the United States.
Right.
You find commonality with that because you know the same stores. Like, I know what it's like to go to a Dollar General sometimes, you know? And like, there's some people in this country who know what a Dollar General is, and they can tell me like, oh yeah, you can get good cereal there.
And on the opposite end of that,
toiletries, you know,
fucking like Jay-Z or I forget who it was selling like
Is that like an
white
Aerolon?
T-shirt. Selling a regular Hanes T-shirt for like $4,000 or something.
that's
Like
just
it's
it.
like, come on.
If you're super fucking poor, you might not even know what that is. You might only shop at flea markets. Likewise, if you're fucking Donald Trump rich, then maybe you have no idea what it is to shop for yourself at all. So it goes in all of these different directions. So my bottom line about it is that the socioeconomic aspect of it is the most important facet. It's the thing that actually ties us together, even though we don't recognize that. But it's the commonality we all have.
See, I think the difference is that the poor know what the rich are spending their money on, and they want to do that too.
Well, they have
the
an
rich
idea-
doesn't know what the poor is like. Like that's why they're like, oh, $5,000 for
Poor
a T-shirt.
people-
Sure, that seems reasonable.
I want to disagree.
Like, how much could it cost, Michael? It's a banana.
Well, first of all, you did that wrong because it's a banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10. Secondly,
We're not getting sued.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Well, that's
poor people. I don't think that it goes. I don't think that it's the.
well. The
divergence
poor
that you
people
just
know what rich people are like.
No, you don't.
Coveting.
No, you don't, because I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that like us as regular people, if you're just like a regular person and you don't like go out of your way to learn something like that, then you don't know what rich people are spending
I
their money
think
on.
that's thrown in our face just by social media and
All right,
shit.
then let me ask you this: what does Jeff Bezos spend his money on?
I don't know exactly, but I know what.
Do you know it all?
Well, not Jeff Bezos.
I
I'm
have a
talking
couple
about
things.
like.
Jeff Bezos spends his money on, first of all, he got fit.
HGH.
So he bought that. And he also got a broad. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's spending money on
He
that.
bought a woman. He got in great physical fitness. Yeah.
Yeah, but poor people spend their money on women too.
Yeah. Well,
Like
there's a-
other women than their regulars.
There's a
By the way, not what
commonality
you
to
said.
it. There's a commonality, even with the differences in the socioeconomic strata. There's the same thing in terms of like even keeping up with the Joneses. Like rich people do that as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
well,
you
they
know,
do that, but they're not looking at the poor and like, oh, that poor person has like nothing.
because they already have what that poor person would have, and they don't want it because they think it's shitty.
Yeah.
This is what I would
But
say.
that's why it's more prevalent for the poor person to know like whether the rich person is spending on, because they want to at least have that idea of themselves to be wealthy.
Well, that's what I would say about it, though, is that you can identify some like socioeconomic things from seeing what a person does buy, because a poor person, and by that I mean like basically all of
I was just
you know,
like generalizing.
like in a general middle
Yeah.
class kind of middle class and lower, but like people buy what they think rich people would buy, which is a fancy house, a fancy car.
But
so
they
on and so
only know
forth.
that because that's
But
what
if you look
rich
at
people are advertising.
If you look at what rich people, and by rich people I mean people who like make millions and millions.
That
We're not,
have no-
we're not talking
yeah.
about a doctor who owns a few
No,
fucking
we're
offices.
talking about people that have more money than they could ever spend in a lifetime.
We're talking about CEOs that you've heard of in the news and so on and so forth, like billionaires,
Yeah.
right? Super fucking rich people. And what they spend their money on is things that they don't actually need or want or will ever use. They have so
They
much
want to
money.
keep up the appearance of
It's
that
not
they're
a-
rich.
I mean,
not
to
even-
a
yeah.
degree, you're right. But
Because they have those catalogs that, oh, I could buy a $50 million yacht. And it's like, that motherfucker lives in middle America. Like the rich motherfucker. And it's like, you're never going to get on a boat because you're afraid of water.
Well, like fucking Jeff Bezos built a yacht that was, I forget the fucking length of it.
It was
but
wild.
You
It
could
was wild.
imagine.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But it had
I'm familiar with this, yeah.
three helicopter ports on it. The man has used it once at most. The bottom line is that
He's
you
got
don't
3 helicopter pads.
and a lot of the things that extremely wealthy people like purchase. And I only know this like anecdotally from reading about it. Like I stumbled upon like a catalog at one point. There was like things that rich people, you know, blah blah blah. But it's like it's just stuff that you occasionally purchase, not because you have any ability to utilize it, because you don't.
Oh,
you're,
no.
you're like, in other words, like if you're a human being, you can only eat so many meals in the day.
You only have 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much you can do in it.
You still have to sleep. So no matter
Regardless
what, even when
staying
you're a
up late.
billionaire, you're still bound by these facets of being a human being. So you still have to sleep, you still have to eat.
Well,
you
maybe
only
they're
eat so
not.
much food.
Maybe they're
well,
not.
at this point, for the most part, they still are. But regardless, there's still so much money left over. So then they buy these like extracurriculars that are like, I'll buy something that cost $1 billion, but I won't even take it. It's just like an object.
Instead of
it's a
donating
mummy,
it,
or
it's
something like
just,
that.
They're donating it, but not to anything that's going to
And you
benefit
just
anyone.
pay somebody to store it.
The only thing I could say about that is somebody has to build these things that they're buying that are ridiculous in just in nature. But somebody has to buy them, and
So the rich people.
or somebody has to build them, and that's where the poor come in to build them. And so there's some trickle back, but it's not enough to
It's
fucking
called
make a
trickle
difference.
down, Moses. Get your Reaganomics right.
No.
I feel like he mixed up pickleback and trickle down economics.
I do love picklebacks.
I'm going to jump in here real quick because we went off on a tangent there, but it does tie to what we're going to talk about because poor people, rich people, middle class alike spend their money on stupid shit from time to time. And so is everyone in this room.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
I have.
You seem pretty eager to answer this question,
Oh,
Moses.
I'll fucking.
He's the most guilty of everyone in
I
this
am
room.
because I'm the most poor in the room.
I can't imagine why.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. Just stick close and listen.
The audience already knows about your Funko Pop addiction, so it has to be something else other than that.
Well, do they know about my other addictions?
You keep mentioning them on the
No,
podcast.
just because I'm. Is this not an NA meeting?
Not this
Like
one.
I see all these wires, and this is a weird one, but like it's working for me.
Well, we're recording you so we can judge you.
Oh, whatever. I don't give a fuck
I
about
was
your
judging him
judgment.
long before these wires, friend.
Like I give a fuck what you people think.
What do you mean, you people?
I mean you especially.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
Just those people on the left end of the.
All right,
bar.
Moses, keep it rolling.
I abhorrently spend a lot of money on cigarettes.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And granted, I smoke and I have a heavy cigarette addiction. But there's no reason I should be buying this many packs of cigarettes because I don't smoke myself that much. But there's, whenever.
You smoke a lot, though.
Well, I also hang around a lot of drunks who don't smoke, but whenever I'm around, they seem to smoke a whole hell of a lot. And like that's like I would love to quit smoking. I don't know that.
I see that.
I've quit other things, and this is why I still smoke cigarettes so abhorrently because man, my heroin addiction is itching.
Well, I mean, here in New Jersey, a pack of cigarettes is about $11.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're smoking, you say like a pack a day,
I'll say like it's give or take, but
Right.
yeah, I would say a pack a
you
day.
spend
Yeah.
over
Jesus,
$300 a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I could buy one of these boats that Jeff Bezos is buying.
Yeah.
If I was to save
Get a
up,
Tesla or some shit.
I could be Tesla. I could just be
Like
the
Nikola. You could be Nikola Tesla.
Nicolette Tesla.
Oh, how does that?
Oh, wow.
I don't know who that is.
That's his wife
Oh.
or daughter. I
The
don't
pigeon?
It's weird. They almost
the
have the
pigeon.
same name.
know. Well, he named her after.
He named his wife.
When you got that much money, you can do that. You can name your wife.
Weird.
But it-
Like, you
I mean,
think
I'm not
Melania-
opposed
Do
to
you
it,
think Melania is her real name? Come on.
Melania?
Melania.
Oh, Melania. But as a smoker myself, and like I typically go through a pack every 2 days. Unless I'm drinking, then I'll go through all the packs.
Yeah, you don't drink as much as I do
No.
on a daily basis.
No,
And
I drink once
God
or twice
bless
a
you.
week.
Yeah.
But like that being said,
Well, I
I'm
have a job.
still probably close to $250 a month in cigarettes alone.
is expensive.
Something you really don't. You get nothing on the back end for except
no,
for
you
cancer.
don't.
Well, I'll say.
Yeah, like
I'll say
smoking
this.
weed, you get high, and that's fine. At least you get something out of it.
I'll
With
say-
cigarettes, you don't get anything.
I consider myself very good with my money, and as a proper Jew, I'm pretty much obligated to be
Smoke my
so.
cigarettes.
You are.
And I spend about $20 a month on cigarettes because I smoke both of yours. And it's
Fair. But yeah, it's
Works
true.
out well for me.
It's dumb shit like that. Creature comforts. Whatever you want to do. It's like, and like nicotine's an addictive thing, but like
yeah.
it's stuff you don't even fucking think of.
Yeah.
Like,
Just eating out on like once a week. That
sexually
adds
or
up. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about lesbians.
all right.
Like just eating out, like is like just getting something in because you've worked all day and you don't want to cook or clean the dishes afterwards.
Or it's too late. to
Or
do any
it's
of
too
those
late,
things.
and it's just like,
That's
I'll just order takeout.
I
And
want to dial that back to what I was saying before, though, is that when you are living as we do as normal people, like by normal people, I mean like fucking, like 90% of the people.
This imaginary
in
middle
this
class.
country, at least,
The bell curve.
The bell curve, yeah.
Exactly. Then for us to go out for a meal is something that you should probably think about. And I do.
You
it's
should do it.
It's a thing where you should. Yeah, don't get me
should
wrong.
do
like,
it,
we
but,
all
like-
judge that differently. Like I'll go and have like something to eat and spend, like a buy for me and my girl, and it could be expensive for what I make in a week. That type of
It
thing,
can
right?
be, yeah.
Yeah.
But I weigh that and I do what I do with it. But the thing is that the way that I look at that in general is that for some people, again, because you can only eat so much, whether you're rich or poor, your stomach is the same size. You can eat more expensive meals, but there is a ceiling to that.
I have an
Whereas
argument
for
with that,
ourselves, food takes up a big part of what you spend.
Yeah.
It's a real
it
thing.
does, yeah.
Food takes up a big part of what you
And
spend.
food
in the
just-
same way as like for you to get around, if you're one of us, then you take gas into account. If you're a billionaire, it costs you the same amount
yeah.
to get around as
You don't notice
Sure,
it.
your
It's
limo takes
negligible.
a little bit more fuel than a regular vehicle, but it's completely negligible to you. So you have so much money left over, whereas we need to take that money out of like the regular fund.
We have to
Yeah.
figure out, like, can I pay rent? Can I pay food? Can I
Yeah.
pay the...
Do I go out to eat or do I take a long drive?
Or
that's
do
a-
I, and like I do that a lot with, even when I do order out, I'll go pick it up because I don't want to spend that extra couple bucks to get it delivered.
All those DoorDash fees are freaking
Well,
ridiculous.
DoorDash is another like I don't get that. Like I'll like delivery, fine. Like the way it used to be. Like I know,
A
like get off
$2
my
delivery
lawn,
charge
but
or
like
something,
when you get-
whatever.
but like those Uber Eats or
the
DoorDash,
Grubhub,
it's like
Moses.
you're paying an extra at least $15 on top of what you paid for this.
That
food.
$15 that you pay, though, that goes to another hardworking American in Silicon Valley who was smart enough to create a company that exploits you.
I'm not
and
saying
you
that
should
it's
be
not a bad
respectful of
idea.
that.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not fucking playing into that because I'll just go pick it up as drunk as I am. Yeah. Like, I'll risk my life and the lives of everybody else
save
on the road
$15.
on the way there just to save that $15.
Moses, you could be stone cold sober and you'd still risking everyone's life
Well,
driving
that's
around.
because
Absolutely.
I like to have fun.
Drink responsibly, folks.
Unlike Moses.
Live responsibly. Unlike
Live
Moses.
responsibly. That's awesome.
But it's like these are things you have to be conscious of. Things
Yeah.
that get put to people, especially people in this so-called big swath of what is the middle class, is that luxuries,
Which
say
they
like
are.
these delivery services,
Which is any delivery is a luxury.
Yes.
Just so you don't have to go out.
you have to recognize the massive like uptake in money you're spending on that.
I get that, but that's why my argument is with like the Uber Eats because that's extra charge on top of the most pizza places. There's like there at least at the time that I'm remembering it was like a $2 charge for delivery.
Sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, and then you tip the
driver,
courier,
yeah.
whatever.
And most places will give you, like, if you spend X, we wouldn't even
Yeah.
charge you the delivery
Yeah,
fee.
but now with Uber Eats, it's like that's $15 right there, and then there's that delivery charge, and then obviously you tip because like you're not a scumbag.
I will say this, and I'll play devil's advocate on this one.
Sure.
I agree with everything that you guys are saying, but what I will say is that there's also a notion that I think permeates all of our thoughts with this, and that's along the lines of that there is a motive for all of us to spend our money in the way that we spend it. And there is, like, in terms of us purchasing DoorDash or using Uber or something like that, and the way in which that's pushed, there is an angle to that as well that implies that all of this should be on your back. We see it with, like, recycling. We see it with fucking just treating your environment, be it the natural environment or
That's
otherwise.
the way the government has taught us to be.
Not just
though.
the government, but I just mean in general.
Yeah,
It's
like
that I just
activists
mean
do the same.
Yeah,
like
it's
that. I
kinda
mean,
the same,
what
yeah.
I mean to say is that there's this angle that it all should be on your shoulders, but like not for nothing, there is a scenario where there is public transportation and you don't have to use Uber. You know, you don't have to spend that extra money.
That's
it could be a thing where
fair.
some of your
fair, but
taxes
like some
could
of that
go
isn't
towards that.
applicable in our town. Yeah, you could take I can't take a bus here from
You
where
can't
I
take a
live.
bus here because there isn't a bus here.
Yeah, and that's kind of a problem. Like I could get a cab
If there was a
cabs are
train,
even
if there was
thing.
a train that ran here, then I would say
That would be
I
great,
take it all
and
the
that
time,
would
yeah.
probably
Love trains.
debatably be cheaper. But there isn't that thing in most people's lives, unless you
that's-
live in like cities.
that's
and
my point, though.
Different, but like
No. That's my exact point. It's that all of this is put towards the consumer. That it's all on you. It's all on you, the middle class, the lower class. Like you guys need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and figure out a way to make this work. When in reality, I would say at the very least, me playing the devil's advocate, and the Marxist in me believes in it, is that there is another perspective to it where you don't necessarily need to have the enormous shareholder payout, and you could instead have a system that was more beneficial towards people.
well, see, I have that.
Who should run it, I don't know.
But I have that, like, because I'm all about Uber as a taxi service, because getting a taxi, even before Uber, was a chore. But
I've
now
waited
I
till
can
4
get an
o'clock in the
Uber.
morning to get a taxi.
Well,
from,
I also had that problem with fucking Uber, like, depending on the time, but, like, Uber is easier as far as taxi goes. But why am I paying nobody, like, just some unnamed person, $15 extra for me to get food? Like, what the fuck is that?
You're not paying nobody. You're paying Jeff Bezos. and
Well,
Elon
no,
Musk.
that's still nobody to me.
Well, they're the ones getting your money. so-
I know who's getting it, but it's just like, why am I paying this asshole who does nothing when I can just call them up and be like, oh, can you deliver? And they're fine to deliver.
Well, for an example, if we're gonna talk about Uber in the situation of what they call surge pricing.
Well, there is that. Yeah,
Algorithm-based pricing.
yeah
Yes.
that is.
Well,
that
it's
is
also
a.
it's based on like time frames. Like
It
a
is.
concert's getting out at MetLife.
Yeah.
They're obviously it's going to be through the roof. At that
Skyrocket.
time.
You make as much money as you can.
Yeah, all the bars are closing.
Yeah.
Surge pricing.
Yeah.
That's just it's
Does-
free market economics.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Does that not
Exactly.
abide by that price gouging law that there is?
What's that?
I
It
know-
depends on what politician you ask.
Now, my question.
Well, because of like the
Well, that's basic
like
supply and
gas.
demand,
I know.
Moses.
I only know of it in gas, and you can't price gouge gas. You have to do it incrementally to get up to the prices. But
my only real question with that, I understand it as a business model. It makes
no,
sense
it makes
to me. I
sense
get
as a
that.
business model. But like,
How much of that goes to the driver, though?
Oh, nothing.
probably nothing.
Right.
yeah.
But
that's
now they will get more because they take a certain percentage out.
A percentage.
Like I was an Uber driver for a little bit. So like if I had a $12
I wish I
fare,
had you.
I had $9. I would make $9 off of that. So that's
But that's just it. You're not obligated. There's no law, and I'm not saying there should be, but there is
I mean,
no
I feel
law
like there
that-
should be some sort of law.
But where do you draw
like
the
a
law?
check and
That's
balance
the,
of
That's
sorts.
the whole argument. Is that where
Yeah.
do you draw the law?
That's where you get fucked up, is trying to find a line in this whole thing.
That's the whole thing. It's that like we all agree that there's like a
should
reasonable
be
amount of
something
profit
amicable
to make,
between the consumer and the worker.
what the fuck does that mean?
all right. Let's just move this along.
We're a little bit in the weeds.
Yeah.
What have you treated yourself with that you shouldn't have lately?
And then we're just talking about Marxism and
Yeah.
consumerism. Oh boy,
Here I go, Dan.
here I go, Marxing again.
I love.
Quit Stalin.
Show us your Marx.
I love animal crackers. Groucho Marx is my favorite Marx.
Oh, God.
Wow. Christ.
Wow.
Weird.
Oh, let me slip out of these wet clothes and into a dry martini.
We all got it.
Yeah.
I don't know, you're going to get it.
That's what I've been dealing with. all
When it
night.
hits, it hits. When it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
I do it for me. I am not doing this for laughs.
It's like Ivan Drago.
Right.
I do this for me. For me.
Yeah. Well, that's a smart motherfucker. He's like a physicist and shit.
All right, so I'm going to jump in here real
Please.
quick. In terms of stupid spending, something that I've done kind of like, because I have nieces and stuff like that. Like, I don't like particularly spend my money on a whole lot of stupid shit, like a video game here, this, that, and the other thing here, like going out to eat.
frugal as shit.
Yeah.
You are very frugal.
My Navy friends used to call me a Jew.
You're welcome, I guess, on their behalf.
Oy vey. But what I do like around Christmas time, because Christmas is actually like and we can get into this as we get closer to the holiday, it's for kids. So
Yeah,
like
it is
it's
for
like
kids, yeah.
buying a gift for like your wife or your girlfriend or something like that. That's nice, but it's not the same type of thing if there's like a kid involved, because that's their fucking Super Bowl. So what I tend to do is spend a little bit more than I should on my nieces, or back when they were younger, my kid's sisters. So I'm like, oh yeah.
But as a single man, why wouldn't you? Spend it on your the nieces and nephews and whatever,
Yeah, there's nothing else for me to spend my money on unless I just want to spend it on like dumb shit. So that's the
Hookers and cocaine?
That's not dumb shit. No,
I don't pay
He
for
said
strange.
dumb shit.
You know that.
That's true. Yeah.
Wait,
You can find that anywhere.
I mean, I do something similar. So, like, my siblings and I, when it comes to Christmas and, like, birthdays and stuff, years ago, we decided, like, why are we playing this weird exchange game of, like...
Yeah.
Because it's
unwanted
It
gifts.
is awkward if you thought about it. Like, it's very natural to do, but it's awkward if you actually think about
No,
it.
it is. So, like, we just had a straight up conversation. It's like, let's not do this anymore. We'll all celebrate together. But, like, let's not do this weird gift exchange thing anymore. We take, like, I have my nieces and nephews. We take care of them. Gifts are for kids,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
That's who it's supposed to be for.
Yeah.
Perpetuate the awkwardness.
Written in cursive.
Yeah,
Perpetuate
yeah.
awkwardness.
But, like,
I have that
that's...
tattooed on my back.
And, like...
I believe that.
Because it's like we were just trying to match each other. So we're going to do like a $50 gift to each other. And it's like, we're all adults. We're all established. We don't particularly need anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, like I have this with my mother. She's like, "Oh, what can I get you?" And she'll just like, "Oh, what size are you now?" Because I'm a constantly growing boy, but wide, not height. But and it's just like I don't really need anything. You know what? If you really want to help, pay a bill. Because, that's kind of the only thing. Like, just give me gift cards that I can transact into actual cash, or just give me the cash, because then I'm gonna pay a bill.
But
and
it's like, all right,
try
so
and catch up.
in a similar vein, Christine and I are getting married soon. And like the invitations went out and we didn't set up what do you call it? A gift fucking list thing.
A registry.
A registry.
Yeah.
Because we have too much shit already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But wouldn't you like new shit?
No.
All right. I didn't know you had all kinds of new shit there. All right.
But
I
it's
know
like
where to
we
go rob
literally
now.
we don't want for anything. In fact, we got too much shit. So it's like appreciated, but like don't need it.
You're trying to do the opposite of keeping up with the
That's
Joneses.
what's hard.
We caught up. We don't want it
Because
anymore.
everybody wants to give because it's a celebration,
And I get it.
Yeah.
And I get it. I absolutely get it. Especially when like people get married younger. Christine and I are older.
Yeah.
We've lived together for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff too, though, goes to your point of like being younger as well. But like when you have a ritzy, or even just like you pay for the whole reception or all that stuff, you essentially gift the person back what you were eating and
like
drinking.
it's usually
and then enough for
it's
them to pay for something else.
It's usually the equivalent of the plate of the dinner or something to that effect.
Yeah. I'm also, speaking of foolish spending, I'm the type of person, like, I have my two older brothers got married. My cousin got married. I have another cousin that's getting married. And I just give out, like, all right, this is like the brother amount.
Right.
This is the amount for cousins. Like, when I went to this wedding with my mom was like, how much are you going to give your cousin? And I'm like, this amount. And she's like, Daniel, that's too much. And I'm like, I'm like, what else do I spend it on? And then I actually I got frustrated. I'm like, then just tell me the amount that you want me to spend, and I will do it because I don't want to have this discussion.
Mom, if I don't spend this now, Moses is going to ask me for a loan later for his cocaine habit.
It's like, with that invitation, can you send me an itemized list of what it actually costs to have me there? Because I'd like to meet that at least.
My cocaine spending habits.
Yeah, well, it depends on the wedding, but yeah.
My chime in
Nobody
on
met
the
mine.
gift giving thing would be that many, many years ago, and you guys, I think, know this story. My brother and I made an agreement that we would not exchange gifts for the exact reasons as you guys said.
Right.
It's a frivolous endeavor.
Yeah.
Where you just like you feel forced to get a gift and then you just exchange them and nobody really feels satisfied by it. And we honored that agreement for many, many years. And then my brother was married to a delightful young lady who I very much so adore. And she absolutely threw our arrangement to the wind because she doesn't care about the agreement.
Right.
She is.
The detente is
She is ridiculous
And
about gift giving.
so
But
he showed up one year, around Christmas with his lady, and they did it jointly. And I do blame my brother for this when he's listening, but very much so. They handed me this gift jointly, and I looked at him with daggers in my eyes.
was it in cement?
Obviously, yeah, because no, it was not. It was was just a genuine, it was a delightful gift. I don't remember the contents of it. It was like things that I would actually enjoy.
Sure.
It was well thought out.
It sounds delightful.
They were nice gifts. It was like shirts and bullshit that I would like, you know? But like nonetheless, even as I enjoyed each of the contents, as I like unfurled them from their wrapping.
Like you've broken the
I was
sacred
like,
vow.
Exactly. We had an agreement.
Oh, no,
and you abandoned it.
I have
in a one-sided way. That's an absolute affront to everything that we agreed upon.
I do know this story, and that's the only reason I get you
And
gifts
so-
on holidays or a birthday or something like that.
but
That's
like-
the only reason I get you a gift, because otherwise, no, I ain't got that money.
My sentiment about it was, though, is that the whole reason that we stopped doing it is because we were spending money that didn't need to be spent. Because we're brothers and we love each other, and you don't need to spend money to show that love to somebody that you care about.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll
I
just
think
buy it.
that's
If I
the
see
big
something that
thing.
he likes, then I'll just buy it for him. And
I think
would hope
that's
that
the
he would do
big
the same.
thing about gift giving that is lost. It should just be about what the gift is, not the amount spent.
Yeah, say
Like,
if you see something that inspires
yeah,
you.
like
then
if,
yes.
if I see something that I know, like I see it, I would never buy it. Like I don't give a fuck about it. But I see it, and I'm like, oh,
See,
that person.
Th-
Then
this is
I
ex-
get
this
it.
is
and,
exactly-
like,
this is
that's a
exactly
gift.
why.
That's a real gift.
The next year, and you know this already, Moses, the next year, his gift was some bullshit fucking liquor bottle wrapped in concrete just for him. I got his
that's
wife
why I was
nothing.
curious.
Not because I don't love her, but because it
Well,
was
she
him.
gets a regular gift, but
His
just because-
gift wasn't the bottle. It was the journey of the affront
That's
that
what
he
it
had done to
is.
me by abandoning our
it's
agreement.
very, like, that's not Robert
and
Frost.
and that's a gift that we continue to give each other to this day. And what I will say about that is that that's a gift worth giving when it's a gift that doesn't cost you anything, but it's a gift that you just do for somebody
Yes.
else. And to this day,
Thought was
we
put into
continue
it.
to give each other gifts that are increasingly difficultly wrapped.
No,
and
I-
there's never anything good in there.
I remember helping you carry one of your brother's
That weighed
gifts
300
to
pounds.
the car. And I'm like, Jesus, fuck. Like, I hope there's nothing in this, because this is fucking ridiculous.
There was a bottle of whiskey in there.
Was there?
The one that he gave me this year
That was heavy.
It was
Like,
fucking. He gave me a fucking. He actually really did beat me on this one, but it was a fucking. It was like a small like lock safe, like 1.5 by 1 foot by the same on the other side.
Right.
And there was just no way to get into it. It's just a locked safe. So I go through the outside of it with a metal grinder, and then everything else goes wrong because he actually filled it with some sort of an epoxy, like a motherfucker. And
something sauce kink.
yeah, so like I get to that and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, you piece of shit. And eventually get in there. And I actually had to, he really did fucking beat me.
I have an
I'm
idea
ashamed.
to one-up him this
I've
year.
already one-upped him. He just doesn't know it yet. And this episode won't come
right.
out until after he's gotten it.
I'm going to say just cement a key and a letter with clues to where this
Don't
key
give him
unlocks.
ideas. Don't give him ideas.
Oh, there you go, Ed.
He actually does listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
so-
I know he does.
Hey, he's one of the few. The proud, the loud and drunk listeners.
The bottom line is that for us, gifts aren't about money.
No.
I spend money to make sure that the gift is unopenable, but that's for me, right? Likewise, he spent money on that safe. I know that he had to go out and purchase that safe. He had to buy the epoxy. That shit was not cheap.
No.
But he didn't do that. Obviously, I was never going to get that gift.
No.
The gift was fucking 2 cans of bullshit fucking seltzers and nonsense, which I absolutely ripped open with a grinder by accident.
Right.
Oh, you didn't even get to
I
drink them.
never even got the drinks. Yeah.
That's
the bottom line is
unfortunate.
that it wasn't about the material object. It wasn't about spending money.
It was about the thought that was involved.
It was about the thought. He tried to make something for me that was a bigger challenge than what I gave him. That was the gift. The gift was a fuck you. And that's the types of gifts
And
that we
isn't
exchange
that what
in
the
my
holidays
family.
are all about? Is just a hearty fuck you to whoever you love.
It's not about the gifts, but the resentment you made along the way.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very similar to you guys in terms of I have a detente with my brothers, and we're to not get each other gifts, and it was broken last year. Now, I will give them credit. They each somehow, I guess because they listen to me, which is weird. I don't even listen to me. They both got me USA hockey jerseys.
And that's a good. Was it the 88 or
One of them was the
whatever it
1980 similar to that
Oh,
one.
I forget what year it was.
And
but
then the
yeah.
one was like the more modern one.
Right.
And I was just like, shit, now I have to get them something. I spent so much on their daughters.
Well, you just you spend on their kids.
Yeah,
And you
that's-
get the most annoying fucking gift you could ever fucking find. They're like, oh, you're not into music. Here's a drum set. Just bang on it
it's funny.
constantly.
It's
Guess what, Eric? I got your daughter's handguns.
Well,
yeah, that's all right too. They got to learn to defend themselves.
Start 'em young.
it's actually funny that you said that because I got my eldest brother, his oldest daughter, a guitar, and then
Oh,
I was
boy.
struggling
That'd be
to
annoying.
I was struggling to think of what to get the youngest, and I'm like, well, if I'm going instruments, might as well get her a drum kit, and they can just be like a sister like music band or
Yeah,
whatever.
like the White Stripes.
Yeah, and when I ran that jokingly by him, he's like, "No, do not do that."
Oh,
but I also
that sounds like a soft yes.
I also know how my brother, how his mind works, and he didn't really know the younger one was being difficult that year. So what I was like, oh, all right, well, if you don't really know, I guess I'll just get her a Nintendo Switch. And then he was like, no, don't do that.
A Switch, wouldn't that put her just like in a corner somewhere for hours on end?
He's not like a video game type guy. Like even though we had an NES when we were kids, like we were over Christmas one past year, we were talking about Paperboy of all games.
Wow. Wow.
But
That's a
Now you're
Yeah.
aging me.
But like as soon as I made that threat, then he started to buckle down and got back to me on a gift that I could get for his daughter.
Yeah, it is tough. But there is something to be said. That stupid worm thing that repeats what you say in a song.
We had that in
yeah.
this bar at a time. I think Kim got it for you.
Yeah.
DJ Bouncing
That
Beats.
thing, yeah.
DJ Bouncing.
That's
Yeah.
what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
That was. We can harken back to a time when
Yeah.
we were, I guess, beta testing this
The
podcast.
Dark
Yeah,
Ages.
actually, I think there was an episode with it in there.
No, that was episode 0.
Yeah.
That's not been released.
Yeah.
Well, no, you got to pay for that.
I mean, if you first of all, we need people who want to pay for this podcast.
Well, let's entice them a bit.
Yeah, if
With
you want to hear
annoying bullshit.
DJ Bouncing Beats.
I mean, if they're into,
That's what gets him.
like, well, if they're listening to this, they're into annoying bullshit. And oh man, that is annoying.
You're not necessarily wrong. But yeah, I got one of those for my niece, EXO, to destroy my sister's psyche.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's like, it's akin to the Furby.
Yeah.
Where it's just, even if you got rid of your Furby, that thing will still activate in your closet.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. You could have thrown that Furby out years ago, but every now and again, it's in your closet.
I remember the Furby conception because I remember my younger sister, who was quite a bit younger than me, got one for Christmas one year, and there was something to that. Like it would not
There's something
deactivate.
haunted about it, but you don't even have to have it to get
and I
to
think she
get
had
those
to, like,
effects.
Lock it in her closet, if I remember correctly, because it was like a weird, like little
Yeah, it was like a tickle me
critter
Elmo, just
type,
like fucking. Yeah, it was
thing.
almost like a critter. Yeah.
yeah, and like had weird bobbly eyes and maybe said or sang or something.
It sang and kind of did some sort
God,
of.
do you remember Teddy Ruxpin?
I remember Teddy.
I love Teddy
That's old
Ruxpin
school.
because that motherfucker could sing Slayer. I had a Teddy Ruxpin and I had a Slayer cassette because. You know,
Oh, that's right. It was a cassette thing. That's
yeah, it was
right. I
because
forgot
you put
about
it in
that,
his
yeah.
back and he would just mouth the whatever was playing. And when he did Slayer, it was disturbing, but you know you grow accustomed to it over time.
Wow.
Why am I listening to Slayer through a Teddy Ruxpin?
I mean,
And why not?
why aren't you listening to Slayer through anything else?
I mean, yeah, we're doing a whole lot of dating here. Teddy Ruxpin cassettes.
Sorry, but-
Player on
That's
cassette,
some old school
Paperboy.
shit, yeah.
Cassettes are these things. They were like VHS, but smaller. They were kind of like, oh, nobody knows.
Moses,
How are you
none
saying
of
that
the
it's
young
like
people are
VHS?
listening to us.
That's the best thing I could compare it to.
We
Like,
can barely get people our age to listen to this. So,
this is for you guys.
oh, yeah.
For the Teddy Ruxpins out
For the Teddy Ruxpin crew.
For all the Theodores out there.
How do you describe a fucking cassette? I don't know.
We don't have to.
Yeah, like I doubt anyone cares to have us describe what a cassette is to them.
And if they wanted that, then they just aren't listening.
Yeah,
it goes right
if
back
you're
to
ever
that.
at a flea market, it's full of them.
Right. Yeah.
Increasingly less so, though.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
mostly
because
porn
nobody
now.
wants it. Nobody has anything to play it on.
You're the one preaching them.
It's funny that we're talking
better
about
quality.
this too. Like, oh my God, don't give me that. Because people say that about records, vinyl. And they're like, oh, it's
It
a
depends
better.
on the record and the quality of it. But
And then it's just like, oh, like people have now people have record players now.
Yeah,
My
came back
vinyls
around.
now.
Became
My
a
kids,
very-
my kids have a record player and
are
they
we
listen to
going-
like records. I'm like, what?
Are we going back now to cassettes eventually? Because I don't want, like, that's more of a pain. The record I
We
kind of
will,
get.
yeah.
But the cassette serves no value. What does it do?
Yeah.
What,
You
what, you gotta
can't
buy
stretch
pencils
that.
with it so you can turn it back?
What it does, Dan, is that it's the
They
nostalgia.
need to learn penmanship.
It's nostalgia for people who never had in the first place.
That's the point.
Yeah,
That's not nostalgia.
Why did bell bottoms come back?
What's that?
Why did bell bottoms come back?
because you
Because
could hide
everything's
40s. You could hide 40s. You could hide 40s in your socks.
Wow.
40s in yours.
Those are some impressive socks you got there,
Yeah,
Bob.
absolutely.
Well, I'm a man of my socks.
How are you walking around like that?
I mean, you don't walk around well. You could also because I'm thinking about like the Jenko jeans and
You just
like
hear a
I
lot
could
of
fit
clanging.
240s in each back pocket
Well,
without being
God.
seen. You down with the
God.
boot? True.
Oh,
That's how it is. That's what it is. It's all about stealing. That's
Is
what
that like
bell-bottoms are.
sometimes he says things that makes me feel like he genuinely lived through the 60s and 70s. But then like you look at him and he doesn't look a day past 50.
I age well. I don't know.
I'm just picturing now Moses walking
We're talking
around.
about the 1760s, right?
Moses is walking around. You hear Boogie Wonderland.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
strutting
With
through town.
clanging and
No, I was doing that fucking Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack before Guardians of the Galaxy came
You
out.
sang like 2 lyrics from it earlier, and that was it.
Well, that's all I remember from earlier today when I was watching
it
it.
is. I stand by what I said.
All right.
So that's another stupid
I'm-
spending thing that you did, buying 40s for your socks.
No, that wasn't stupid. That worked out very well for me. Yeah, you ever get drunk? You ever carry around a half a case of 40s?
what?
I don't know what I had. 40s came in a case?
Well, yeah, you could get a.
How many in a case?
Oh, it's a case. It's 12.
Oh, like I should have known that.
I didn't know what it was either. Yeah.
It's the same as champagne. God damn.
Wow, I'm learning a lot.
I mean, the
today.
diameter of the bottle does make sense. I'll give you
That's
that.
why
Yes.
it's okay. Like you could like a case.
Why
is
would you
traditionally-
need 12? You know what? I
Why-
actually
why-
take back the claim.
No,
Why would you need
Ask
12
the
40s? I walked myself
Oh,
out of that.
because I have to come
I-
down from the cocaine and heroin and
See, that's how I know you're full
mushrooms.
of shit. Because if you were really alive in the 60s and 70s, you would never need to come down from the cocaine.
What's a frivolous thing that you actively admit to? I bought a car that only gets 8 miles to the gallon.
oh,
That's true.
it's an impressive car though. It is.
It's a tank.
Yeah, it's a tractor trailer. Like
I saw it
It's
on the
a
way
cool
into the studio.
car.
That thing.
It's a cool truck.
That's-
I did question you about the waste of money.
Yeah.
That car looks like, you guys remember the old Family Guy gag where the guy's driving the Hummer, he runs some guy off the road, he's
Yeah.
like, Rumsfeld!
Yeah. I do.
Dan,
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that you didn't go in the direction that I was thinking of with it. What was it? It's the truck on The Simpsons. I know you know what it is.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Canyonero. And I think it's just that. It's like 8 miles
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
gallon. Yeah. It's 2 lanes wide. Can seat 45.
Yeah.
It is
65
fun.
tons of American pride.
It is funny that you got that car because I know you fairly well. I don't see any need for you having
No,
that
I
at
have
all.
no children. I have no family to drive around, and yet I have a vehicle that can seat 9.
You just wanted it.
It works out for events, but that's it.
Yeah, once a year, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do serious reconstruction to your house, I mean, you can start.
I mean,
moving
yeah.
Honestly, if he did serious construction to his car, it could be a house.
It is like driving a living room around with 3 couches in it.
Oh, yeah. You're honestly, I give you props for even like choosing to drive that because
For
parking
being
it is
able
a
to drive that.
disaster.
Like, I know you can drive like big rig.
I drove bigger trucks for
bigger
work,
trucks
but
and
yeah.
shit, but like, that's a fucking.
It's
thing.
obnoxious.
beast.
That is-
It's 23 years old. It's the
That's
gross
23 years
vehicle weight rating is 8,900 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still has
That's a
better
beast.
aerodynamics than a Jeep.
Oh no, 100%. I will not argue
Oddly
that.
enough.
But yes, it's obnoxious, and now I can't drive anywhere without everybody knowing that I have this vehicle, seeing me immediately, because I'm like 3 feet above every other
That
vehicle.
being
Yeah,
said, we were next to each other at a light. I had no idea that was you.
I was staring at you so hard, you piece of shit.
I had no idea it was him. I looked over. I'm like, look at that asshole. then I didn't realize it was an asshole I knew.
I personally, and I don't know much about vehicles, but I love that truck.
It's obnoxious, and I do truly love it.
Yeah.
It's a better Hummer.
How dare you?
Yeah, you're insulting him.
Hummers are obnoxious, and that thing is obnoxious, but that's better than a Hummer.
It is
You're
better than-
obnoxious. This doesn't make you a Hummer.
That doesn't make me not a Hummer, though.
You're a worse Hummer.
But yes, that is my poor yet fun decision.
You deserve
To answer the question
Yeah.
seriously, my answer would be gambling.
Yeah.
Gambling. Love to gamble. It's a waste of money.
Oh, 100%.
Makes no sense. But you do it because it's fun. Same vein as your vehicle.
no,
you did it
I
because
agree.
it's fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do drugs in that vein. I don't like gambling. Actual like.
I
Nothing
know
don't
you're a
care
terrible
for.
gambler. I've seen you gamble.
I win a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
That's slot machines.
that-
It's not really gambling.
I put it in there.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That lady was so pissed.
But I don't know who you're talking
Do you want to clarify for...
We were at I think it was at Borgata, and me and BA were sitting next to each other, and he was kind of playing, and he was just like hanging out there, and I put in like $20.
Slots?
Yeah, slots.
Okay.
And these are penny slots.
Not real gambling.
Right.
Yeah, like I get that it's not real gambling,
Do you?
but no, I play blackjack. But the lady next, like I was winning, and I was just like being so obnoxious about it that I was like, "Oh my god, those noises! What does that mean? Did I win?" And she's sitting like she's probably been there all.
I'm going to be
goddamn
honest
day.
with you. You're liable to get stabbed by a little Asian lady.
He's
if you-
one day he's gonna get knifed, and he'll survive it somehow. It's amazing, but
You assume that I've never been knifed before? Like Christ, that's how we say hello in my language.
is that Filipino?
It's mostly Filipino.
Tagalog.
Yeah, you throw some tomato sauce on it, and it's a hello.
Wow, wow.
Well, if Stabbing Moses is speaking his language, speaking your language should be subscribing to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on YouTube and Rumble. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to get spied on by, China, we're on TikTok too. If you enjoyed this podcast, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at loudanddrunk.locals.com and patreon.com/loudandrunk. Justin, we had a conversation about money, you would say.
We had a conversation of sorts. I think I said what I wanted to say, but it really went wild. Thanks for hanging in there, folks.
Moses, closing thoughts.
Cash money hose.
Wow.
No fucking A-Team reference from you? I'm disappointed. BA!
I would
Great
expect it
time
from
being
BA.
here, just doing it for the team the whole while. Dan, lovely hanging out with you. Mr. Justin over there, absolutely delightful. And then Moses, I don't really know what to say to you. I feel like we have a lot of different.
You don't have to say anything to me. That would be pleasant.
All right. Well, I'm still gonna see you afterwards, right?
No,
No.
No.
But I already gave you the money.
I'm a ghost you.
Discuss it off mic, folks.
All right then. Good night, everybody.
So, for Justin, Moses, and B.A. Baracus over there, I am Templeton Face Dan Peck.
Oh,
Thank you for joining us, and until next time, I love it when a podcast comes together.
Son of a bitch, I was going to say that.
Mr. Opportunity. Dan, that was a great send off. That was the only way.